What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jane. Welcome to Jane by Design. On this video today, I'll be showing us how to sew this beautiful asymmetric top that we previously drafted. The pattern drafting is already on the channel. If something you are interested in, please watch the video to the end. On this channel, I upload pattern drafting and sewing tutorial. Kindly do well to subscribe and share, like, and comment. Okay. Now to begin with, this is my pattern. I have gone on to cut it out on the fabric. So what I've done here is place the pattern on top of the fabric, and then I added my stitching allowances to it. At the top, I added half of an inch all around. By the side seam, I added 1 inch. I did this for all of the pattern. Okay. When I drafted this pattern, I didn't draft it with a stitching allowance, so I added all of my stitching allowances on the fabric. All right. And also I went on to also cut out an interfacing for this and also a lining. I'm going to be interfacing the main fabric, and then also I have the lining. So like I said, I went on to cut out this pattern on the fabric. I added half an inch all around, then I added 1 inch by the side for the side seam. So right now we are going to be taking out our pins and we are going to be assembling this front panel first. So this is what we have on the front, which is the main fabric. I ironed my interfacing on it, which you can see. So after ironing, I went on to assemble the front. You can see what the front looks like. If you follow the pattern carefully, you will know that on our front bodies we have the asymmetric line running longer on one part of the front. So now to join the pieces together, I went on to place them side by side, right sides facing each other. Then I'm going to go stitch by half of an inch. I did the same thing for the other side, right sides facing each other. We're going to stitch by half of an inch. Now after stitching, what I did here was to use my STA to iron the seams open so that it remains flat inside, and then I went on to notch. Remember to notch before ironing this STA on top of your open seams. Okay, so I forgot to notch, that is why I am placing those notches. All right, so when you stitch this bustier area, remember this is a curved part. So when you are stitching it and after you are done stitching, ensure to give it a notch so that your curved ends will relax properly inside your garment. So now this is done. The next thing was to repeat the same thing for the lining. I did the same thing for the lining, but I didn't iron an interfacing on the lining. I just went ahead to stitch my lining and also notch it as well. For the back, I went on to also add my half an inch stitching allowances on the inside, at the top, and also at the bottom of the back panel. By the sides, I added 1 inch for the side seam. All right, so right now I'm going to take out my pattern and I'm going to go join the back. I also ironed an interfacing for the back as well, and then I will just take to the machine and we're going to stitch by half of an inch. So we're going to be stitching close our dart lines by half of an inch. After that is done, you will also take it to your ironing board and ensure to iron the seams open. So for the center back, you can as well go ahead and stitch that closed. You can also decide to put a zipper at the center back if you want to, but for mine, I didn't put a zipper. So I'm just going to stitch the dart lines and then I'll come back and show you after ironing the seams open. Now that that is done, the next thing we are going to do is to work on the front. Now for the lower part of the front, this is what I have for the lower part of the front. So I'm going to go join them together now. And to do this, I'm going to flip the peplum at the lower side on top of the front. Then I'm going to take to the sewing machine and we are going to stitch this down by half of an inch. Okay, remember that when we're drafting this lower part, one side is going to be shorter than one side. So the part where we have the button, where the button is going to be sitting, would be 1.5 inch shorter, while the other part, which is going to overlap where the buttonholes will sit, which is this part that I'm joining together, will be closed off. I hope you understand. So after stitching that down, we are going to stitch the other side. Okay, this is what, let me repeat it so that you understand. So for the second part, which is the part that is going to be where the button is going to be sitting, you can see that the blouse, the lower part, the peplum didn't get all the way to the end of the slanted line. That is because our other overlapping parts will be on top of it and it doesn't need to show. So this is what it will look like when you are done stitching. So what I will do right now is to go ahead and join the lower part of the shorter part of my bustier. So I'm going to go stitch it closed with the lining. Just prepare the lower part because it's going to be different from the other side. So what I've done here is to place them right side by side, right side facing each other for the main fabric and the lining. And then I'm going to go and stitch the part where you see that I am pinning down is the part that I'm going to go stitch down. So I'll stitch that down. I'll also stitch the other side down. I will also stitch I'm going to just go ahead and stitch everywhere closed. All right, so here it is. After stitching it, I'm going to reduce the seam allowances so that it doesn't bulk on the inside when I turn it to the right side. So after stitching, I'm going to go ahead now and open it up so you see what it looks like. Okay, then I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I'm going to take this to the ironing board and we are going to be ironing this out. All right, so I'm poking out my edges, so then I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and then we are going to, you can see that for the one side of this front panel, the cut, this asymmetric cut didn't get all the way to the front. So right now I'm going to just place a marking where this peplum is going to sit on the front, and then I'm going to take to the machine and I will be stitching that from that point where I marked on the bodies. I'm going to hold it down with my pins. Okay, ensure to hold it down with your pins, then you take it to the sewing machine and you are going to be stitching it down. So this is what we are going to do for this part. After we've joined the main pattern and the fabric, we've closed it open and turned it right side. We're going to now join into the main fabric and then we're going to stitch it down. All right. So this is what it will look like. While for the side that is longer, you can see that we have it all complete. We just have to take it to the machine, right sides together, and also stitch down. This one is very easy, so we're not stitching it down with the lining together. I hope you understand this explanation. We're just going to stitch the main garment to main garment, while the other one we stitch the lining of the peplum together before attaching it to the main garment. Now, before this is done, we are going to also be adding a breast cup to this, and the breast cup is going to be sitting on the lining, not on the main fabric. So what I've done here is to bring back my pattern just so that I will know exactly where the breast cup is going to be sitting on. So right now, after I've gotten where the breast cup is going to be sitting on, I went on to tack it down on the lining. Then this is it for it. So I'm going to now bring back the main fabric and we are going to be joining the main fabric and the lining. You can see, first of all, we're going to be working on the part that is longer, that has longer asymmetric effect. All right, so we are going to be working on that part first. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be joining them at the waist area. So just go ahead and join your peplum of the of the lining like we did for the main fabric. Just join them together so you also have one complete piece for the lining and one complete piece for the main fabric of one side of the front. I hope you understand. So right here is what I have done, and we'll go ahead and stitch it down. Okay, just go ahead and stitch it down after you are done pinning. So this is the lining. So when we are done pinning, you just go ahead and stitch it down. So after stitching, this is what it looks like. See, this is one for the main fabric, one for the lining. So what we'll do now is to place them side by side, right side facing each other. Now we are going to pin down, and the way we are going to pin this down, we're going to pin down all through, because we are going to be stitching the top. Okay, we are going to be stitching the top closed, and also we'll be stitching the sides close as well. That is the inner for where the button hole is going to be sitting. Okay, so we are going to be stitching the top, and then the asymmetric part where we have in front. We are going to ensure that our seams align at that side, and we're also going to pin that down. So after you are done pinning down, what you are going to do next is to take this to your machine, and you're going to run a stitch all the way from the top down to the asymmetric line on the front, and also to close the lower part down as well, also to close the lower part. So we are going to leave the side open, because we are going to turn this inside out at the side. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So just take to the sewing machine, stitch from the top down to the asymmetric line, and down to the to close the lower part of this top. I hope you understand. After that is done, we are going to turn this to the right side, and before we stitch the front, we are going to do a top stitch at the neck area. Okay, we are going to do a top stitch at the neck area, so that the lining will not be poking out in front. So I'll just take this and go and do a top stitch at the neck area. So after doing a top stitch at the neck area, I brought my ball so that we can iron out the breast cup properly on the fabric. So after that is done, this is what it would look like. You can see, beautiful. All right, it's looking very clean. The breast parts are inside. So I'll repeat the same thing for the shorter side of this my top. You can see the lining, I have that already. And for the lower part, remember that we already fixed it on the main garment. So all you need to do is to just take the lining part that has the breast cup on it, and you're going to just place it at the waist area, pin it down. Okay, pin it down, and then you're going to go and stitch down. You're going to go stitch it down by half of an inch. All right, so just go ahead and stitch it down by half of an inch, like I said, and then we'll come back. After stitching down, you also stitch the sides. Okay, stitch the sides where the button is going to sit on, and also stitch the top. All right, so we're going to stitch the top first, because at the top where we have our breast cup sitting, we're going to stitch that part, and also we are going to top stitch on the top. So we top stitch on the top, stitch the side, stitch the other side, and then we are going to leave the side seam open so that we can be able to turn it inside out. So after that is done, this is what your garment should look like on the inside. You can see that extra half, 1.5 that we have overlapping inside. Yes, that is how it's going to turn out to be, because we're going to be fixing our buttons on the inside, and the longer one is going to be where the button holes are going to be sitting on. So this is it. We are done concealing the inside and the outside, and I've ironed it properly. So the next thing to do now, we are working on the back. For the back, I went ahead to close the center back. Now for the center back, you can decide to add a zipper to the back if you're not very comfortable with just the buttons in front. But I've gone ahead to close my center back, and this is what the back looks like. I also did the same thing for the lining on the inside. See the lining, I have joined the lining for the back and the main fabric at the neckline, and I've also top stitched. Okay, this is what the back looks like. The next thing I will do for the back is to go and stitch the hem of the top for the back. Okay, I'm going to go and stitch it closed. I will also advise, when you stitch this closed, you do a top stitch as well, so that the lining is not poking out. Okay, after this is done, I'm going to now bring the front part panel, and then I'm going to place it side by side. Then we are going to go stitch the side closed. All right, so we're going to go stitch the side closed, but before we stitch the side closed, remember that we still have the sides open. So you're going to just run a stitch of 0.25 inch on both sides of the front and the back sides. After that, then you go ahead and stitch them closed by the seam allowances you have on your fabric. So right here I have stitched the front and the back closed, and this is what it looks like. It's looking really beautiful. I can't wait to put this on. All right, so now the next thing you are going to do now is to attach your buttons. So this is my buttons. I'm just going to place it on top of the garment so you see what it will look like when we are finally done. And this is it, guys. This is the end of this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Stay blessed. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.